troubles for Facebook. Ahead of his appearance before the US Senate later today, the CEO of the company, Mark Zuckerberg, has filed a written testimony. In the written testimony, he apologized for the missteps in handling data leaks. Zuckerberg has listed out the steps his company is taking to protect its users from the data leaks. Here is what he said, and we are quoting him. "It is clear now that we did not do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm. We did not take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. It was my mistake, and I'm sorry." End quote. Mr. Zuckerberg says that the company will take steps to strengthen its advertising policy. These include hiring more people to screen political content, and these includes also authorization for each political party that wants to advertise on Facebook. And the company intends also to make these changes ahead of the elections next year in India. The Democratic Senator Bill Nelson, who had a private one-on-one meeting with Zuckerberg, said that the Facebook founder told him very clearly that his company was lied to by the political consultancy Cambridge Analytica.
I explained to him what I thought had happened in the misuse of personal data. Number one, that those 87 million, which he confirmed, that personal data was sent into hands that he said they were lied to by Cambridge Analytica. Well, you can't protect our privacy just on the basis of somebody telling you that they're going to protect it. So does that mean law? Yes. Does that mean regulation? Yes. My sense is that he takes it seriously because he knows that there is going to be a hard look at regulation. If it's not his site, someone else can be misused for people who are trying to do us harm. And I believe he understands that regulation could be right around the corner.
Zuckerberg is expected to be grilled for 2 days by US lawmakers. The Facebook CEO is expected to be questioned on how did it allow developers to use user data. And joining us on the broadcast to discuss more on this story, we have Nina Maria Poss, our correspondent in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much and good evening. Thank you for being with us. So my first question to you is, Mr. Zuckerberg is going to get grilled in the Congress, but can the Congress actually get inside the advertisement policy of Facebook, which is a private company at the end of the day?
Well, I think we're expecting a certain degree of non-debate over the issue of regulation. It's very difficult, I think, to see how Congress takes its next steps. All eyes are on Capitol Hill this morning as Zuckerberg takes his seat later this afternoon. He will face a grilling. That's the tradition on Capitol Hill when U.S. lawmakers really get their teeth into something, and it's likely to go for 2 very long days. Many people are calling this Zuckerberg's growing up moment. Others question how genuine his apology is going to sound. There's expected to be a certain amount of eating of humble pie and contrition from Mark Zuckerberg. As you referenced there, he's expected to lay out that Facebook didn't take enough steps to protect the data privacy of its users. He's not well known for his public speaking, as you know, and a lot of commentators are referencing the fact that he's going to be donning a suit in a very formal atmosphere, and could be to some extent eaten alive by some very hard-hitting congressmen and senators. He's going to reference fake news. He's likely to reference foreign meddling in U.S. elections and hate speech and data breaches, and he's expected to issue a full apology as the architect of Facebook, to apologize personally for not having taken enough steps. I think the key is how genuine he's going to come across, and how genuine his apology is going to sound, and that in itself will feed the atmosphere over the question of legislation that you rightly point out.
And Nina, for those viewers who might not be very, who might not be comfortable with this kind of procedure, could you please walk us through what is going to happen? What does it mean when someone is called and will be grilled by the Congress? How does that take place?
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, going back to your earlier question, I think one of the most interesting issues surrounding this testimony on Capitol Hill is how the debate around legislation and what to do next plays out. Congress is minded to do something, but there are some big questions about what legislation would do to the business model of a company like Facebook, how it would impact it, since it relies heavily on the farming and collecting of the data, the private data of millions and millions of people who willingly volunteer that information because they want to be part of the Facebook community. There's also the downstreaming question, which is how little companies, the little guy, the small business that relies heavily on Facebook for the marketing of its goods and services at a very local level, will it really do those businesses any good at all to be burdened under the yoke of data privacy rules that could be quite arduous for small businesses? So there are a lot of questions that will come out of the testimony. I think Zuckerberg will point to some policy decisions that he's announced over the last few days that will make privacy tools much easier to find, allegedly for private users, and he will be forcing codes on entities that are wanting to advertise on Facebook. So he will reference those policy changes today, and he will defend Facebook and its good points. I think we can expect a certain degree of highlighting of some of the positives of Facebook. He's going to stress community and the fact that Facebook has brought a social togetherness to many millions of people who perhaps have used Facebook to combat loneliness.